Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very apt isolation video. We are now in England, I think into week 5, I want to say, of lockdown. I'm not sure, time has kind of escaped me, but anyway, we are well into isolation. I have had time to now learn a few tips and tricks and start to put them into practice. So I thought I would film a little video to share a few things that I'm doing to help manage my diabetes during lockdown while everything is so out of routine, which is exactly what we need as type 1 diabetics. Especially for those of us like me who regularly go to the gym. I normally go 5 times a week. They are now shut, which means a huge change to our levels of exercise and just how we're burning through sugar throughout the day. So I thought, now we're kind of more into the swing of lockdown and I've had time to experiment and test a few things out, I would share my top tips. So I have 9 tips for you today. So let's jump in with number 1, which is start your day with movement. Do not do what my boyfriend is doing and wake up at 10 to 9, log on to the laptop at 9 to be at work, and literally just stay in the bed. This will not help your sugars at all. We as diabetics need to do at least some movement when we get up. I'm sure most of you, if you don't work from home, you at least walk to the car, drive, walk from the car to the office, maybe go to the little kitchen area, get a drink, go to your desk, or you walk to work or whatever. You do not just wake up and turn on your laptop. So please do some form of movement, whether that's going for a walk in the morning, whether it's doing some yoga, something to just wake your body up and tell you it's time to go. And that will really help set your blood sugars on a good level throughout the day. I do have one addition to this tip, which is coming up soon, but I will get to that in a minute. My second tip is to make sure to pre-bolus. We should be doing this all the time anyway, but now we're in isolation, we have the luxury of like all the time that we could possibly need to cook and do pre-bolus and work out when we need to be injecting, to have our insulin before a meal. Especially if you are high, you need to pre-bolus before a meal. Otherwise, you're just going to keep going high until the insulin kicks in. And then you'll have a tendency to be like, oh no, it's post-meal, I'm really high and I'll inject. And then suddenly all of your insulin will kick in like half an hour to an hour later and you will plummet and you'll be low. So instead of just having a nice steady graph, you'll have a high, you'll have a low, you'll feel pretty crap and you'll just want to go to bed. So please pre-bolus, especially during isolation when we're a bit more sedentary. Maybe it might take a little bit longer for the insulin to start working. So the earlier you do that before your meal, obviously not so early that you're making yourself low before your meal, but early enough that it kicks in, will do a world of wonders. My third tip is to check your sugars more often. I know as someone with a Libra, this is easier said than done when you're finger pricking. I looked on my app today for my Libra and I literally scan 22 times per day on average. Especially in lockdown, as your sugars start to adjust to lockdown, maybe you're going a bit high, going a bit low, you're just a bit all over the place. Checking your sugars is so important because number 1, it will help you find patterns. If you're checking it at the same time every day, you will notice a pattern and you can act on that. Number 2, if you are going high or low, you will catch it early rather than just checking once you feel the symptoms. If you're regularly checking throughout the day, you can see you're going up, you can see you're going down. You can act before it becomes a problem, and you'll just have a better picture of your overall day with diabetes. I know the Libra gives you the graph anyway, but if you're not scanning, you're not going to be able to catch things early. So just check your sugars even more. You've got all the time in the world, why the heck not? The fourth tip is to react to these changes, these sugars that you're checking, and adapt your approach. Do not wait for isolation to be over. Adapt now and then revert back to how you used to be if you need to after isolation and lockdown. For me, it did take quite a few weeks for my body to adapt and for me to start seeing recognisable patterns in my sugars in relation to lockdown. Once you see those patterns, please act. So for me, last week I'd say my body was fully in lockdown mode and I could start changing. So last week was pretty pretty bad for me in terms of blood sugars. But it's meant that now I've changed things and I know what I need to adapt to. So like I said, tip number 1, get up and exercise. I've also found for me personally, if I do anything fasted, whether that's a walk, whether that's a run, anything, if I do it fasted, I will go high, even if I've had no food and I've had insulin. The other day, for example, before I worked out this pattern, my blood sugar when I woke up was 8. I had a unit of insulin because I know I tend to creep up because of the dawn effect, and my basal, so I had a unit of bolus, basal insulin. Went for my walk. Obviously, normally strenuous exercise, sometimes you can spike because of adrenaline, but less like general steady state exercise, you'll go down. Every time I walk anywhere, I drop. I got home and my blood sugar was 10 and I was like, what the heck? I then pre-bolused, like I said you should. I kept waiting for that sugar to go down. I waited 40 minutes and in the end I was like, I'd gone down to like 9 or something. I was like, this is silly. I've had like 8 units of insulin. I'm gonna eat my breakfast and we'll work this out. And having done a few trial and errors, what I've realised is I suffer from a thing that I learned the other day that exists, which I didn't realise, feet to floor phenomenon with diabetes. So you have the dawn phenomenon, which is where your hormones tend to kick in from around dawn and you'll kind of rise a bit higher, so you need to take your insulin. The feet to the floor phenomenon is no matter what time you wake up, even if it's like 10, 11 a.m. or whenever, as soon as you start moving and doing anything, your blood sugars will rise. Some people suffer from this, some people don't. I realise I clearly do. Even if I have insulin, I still rise. I need that food to, I don't know if this is the right term scientifically, but the food kickstarts my metabolism and kickstarts my diabetes, and then I will be fine. But if I just have insulin, do light exercise, I'm still going up. So back to the original tip, react to any changes that you're seeing in your blood sugar, don't just try and wait it out. I was running fasted for a bit because I felt I wasn't hungry in the morning, and we run in the morning, and I was like, well, if I'm not hungry, why would I eat? But I now know that like no matter what, even if I'm not hungry and it's really early, I have to have some insulin and I have to eat a banana before I go on my run. That's just it. There are some things that diabetes will unfortunately just dictate for you. There are loads of things you can get around with your diabetes, and you should never let diabetes stop you from doing anything, but there will be some things that diabetes will just have a say on and you don't. And for me, that is that I must eat a banana before I go for a run. I must eat before I do anything. So now my morning routine has been walk, get home, eat. It will now be eat, walk. It's a little change, but they can make a huge difference, because honestly the other day when I had that unexplained high, I was high till 1 in the afternoon and then I crashed, and I just don't want to be dealing with that every day, so I'm just going to give in to diabetes on this one and react to the patterns. Sorry, that was a long-winded one, but gotta get out there. Number 5, keep active throughout the day. So even though you may have done a little walk or run or workout or cycle or whatever in the morning, I find that if I'm sedentary throughout the day, my sugars will slowly creep up. Even if I eat nothing, they'll just go up. I have to stay doing at least some form of activity, whether that's walking around the office in normal day-to-day life, walking around campus at uni. Obviously in England, so not by law, but the guidance at the moment is to go out only once per day for exercise. So if I've done a run in the morning or my morning walk, then throughout the day, technically I shouldn't leave the house again. So I will either do some yoga, which I really enjoy doing in the evenings. I will practice doing handstands. I mentioned in my last video, I really want to get better at handstands. So do some practice for that. That actually gets my heart rate up a lot faster than I thought it would, and it's only 5 to 10 minutes before I'm too tired to do any more. So that's just a quick something I can throw in as like a break in my day if I'm doing revision or whatever, or just like been going on the Wii, doing some just dance, anything to just move a bit, even if you just walk up and down the stairs. I find it really helps keep my sugars a lot more stable and avoid any like annoying spikes that happen even though you did nothing wrong. You didn't eat anything. My next tip is to try and keep as close as physically possible to your normal exercise routine / exercise type. I am all for, like I said, practicing new skills and trying to get better at something else in isolation. I think it's the best time. So for me, that's running. I would run maybe once every other week before for like 2 kilometers if I could, when I was with my boyfriend, just because I need someone else to motivate me. I set my goal, I want to get better. So we now run 3 times per week. But normally I would be going to the gym 5 times per week and lifting weights. So I managed, luckily, to get my hands on some home gym equipment before everything went out of stock, and I'm lucky enough that during isolation I'm back living with my dad, and he has like a big garage where we can set that up. So if you're like me and you normally weight train, I would recommend getting a hold of any form of weight that you can, whether that's some dumbbells, some kettlebells, whatever. But if you can't, some form of resistance training will be better than none for keeping your sugars as close to normal as possible. It took like 3 weeks for this gym stuff to arrive, so I was doing a lot of resistance workouts without that equipment before. There's a couple on my Instagram if you want to go over there and have a look. But any kind of like resistance bands are great. Anything that uses your body weight in a way that's challenging. So like for a lot of people, like body weight squats and jump squats won't really cut it in terms of the level of resistance, but things like single legged hip thrusts and glute bridges, things that are unilateral, so using one side of the body rather than both sides, are a lot more challenging. Things like push-ups, decline push-ups or incline push-ups, pistol squats, something I really want to get a lot better at. Anything that uses your body weight in a way that challenges you. And if you're lucky enough to be isolating with someone else, using their body weight can be really helpful. So if you're strong enough to squat whoever you're living with, use them as a weight. Hip thrust a partner is a fantastic way of keeping a high level of weight onto a hip thrust if you normally hip thrust. Depending on how heavy your partner is, you can use them to hold you when you row up onto them. Or if you're normally, I hate to stereotype, but I can't bench press James, he can bench press me. So if you're a guy who's quite strong in the bench press situation, you can press your partner or someone you're living with. Anything that uses something fairly heavy or your own body weight in a way that is physically challenging will be better than doing no form of resistance training if you are used to going to the gym and lifting weights, because that is the only thing that is close to that form of training that will challenge your muscles in a similar way and therefore provide a similar reaction in your blood sugars and kind of keep you more stable. I hope that made sense. It was a bit of a convoluted one. Go to my Instagram if you want body weighted, partner weighted things. They're better explained over there. The next point is stick as close to your normal routine as possible. Even the little things. For example, if you normally have a cup of coffee at a specific time, carry on having a cup of coffee at a specific time, because even though there's no carbs in coffee, the caffeine will spike your blood sugar, and so if you're used to dealing with that spike at that time normally, don't cut that out. If you normally eat at a specific time every day or around about a similar time every day, carry on eating at that time, because your blood sugars are used to it and you will get the most out of your efforts if you are sticking as close to your normal routine as possible in terms of timing, in terms of the things and kind of activities you're doing. And my 8th point, the food that you're eating. Keep to as close as possible to your normal foods as you can. Obviously it depends on the supermarket situation. To be honest, a lot of the panic buying around me seems to be kind of over now. It's mainly flour that you still can't get because everyone is like baking banana bread. But stick as close to normal foods as you can and avoid things that trigger you in terms of blood sugars. I know most of us suffer hugely from the pizza effect. I do still eat pizza every now and then just because it's pizza. But it will wreak havoc with my sugars. So during isolation, I've told myself I'm just not going to eat pizza. I'm not saying don't treat yourself, because hello, we're in quarantine, please treat yourself, keep your sanity. But do it with foods that you know don't trigger you. I'm still eating chocolate, cake, crisps, whatever, because I know these foods do not pose an issue for me, whereas pizza I just can't do. So last night, I think it was last night, my family were making pizzas. I was tempted, not gonna lie, would have loved it, but I just got myself out a curry from the fridge that we had, that I know how much carbs we have in that curry, and was easy for me to handle after isolation. And when things are back to normal and my sugars are behaving, I will be back to eating the occasional pizza and just riding out that pizza wave with the sugars. But for now, I'm just think it's not worth it to cause the extra stress with the sugar levels. My 9th and final point is use this time productively in terms of your diabetes, and use it to learn about your diabetes and about your blood sugar management. A lot of time in day-to-day life, diabetes can slip in our priority list because we're busy with work, with uni, with the gym, with friends, with family, with everything that we have going on. Diabetes can kind of lose priority, and also because we're going into so many different situations normally in life, different social events, things that come up at work, which means they throw your schedule off, blah 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 blah. It can be hard to spot patterns. Now we're in isolation, every day is pretty much the same. Let's be honest, nothing's happening in anyone's lives, so it's a really good time to work out patterns, and particularly if you're struggling with your basal insulin and you don't know where you're meant to be at, and you're trying to find the right ratios, or if you're struggling at particular times of day and trying to change your bolus insulin ratios for your carbs, now is the best time, because there are no other distractions, and the only things that are going to be influencing your diabetes are literally your insulin ratios, the food you eat and exercise you do. There's going to be no outside distractions. So while you've, number one, got the time on your hands being in isolation, you know, you've not got the commute to work, all these other events that go on in our day-to-day lives, you've got the time to sit down and look at the patterns. You've got no other outside factors that are going to be influencing your sugars that are going to skew any data that you get. And also it's a safe time because you'll be at home. If for some reason something does go wrong, if you're isolating with anyone else, there's people there that can help. You've got so much time to do research on diabetes and different things. Like I said earlier, the foot to floor phenomenon. Never heard of that before. I knew about the dawn effect, known about that for a long time. Had no idea about this thing, and I'm more educated. So just use this time to work on your diabetes, and you will see the rewards for so long to come. Normally we don't spend enough time fine-tuning this kind of thing, but why not in isolation? Like, there's not a lot else to do. So use this time productively and really, like, just get your health where it needs to be, and get your blood sugars where they need to be. So yes, that's it. I hope, if nothing else, this video has provided 20 minutes of entertainment during a boring isolation period. But no, seriously, I do hope it has helped with some tips on how to survive this isolation and manage your sugar levels during isolation. If you have any questions about anything I've said, or you have any of your own suggestions that you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. My next video that I'm going to upload is going to be a talk about my Libra. Going to be talking all about how to get it on the NHS if you're interested in that, and any tips and tricks I have about using the Libra. I'm just going into detail about it. To be honest, I think it's going to be a bit of a long one because I think I'm going to ramble quite a lot because I love my Libra. So if you're interested in seeing that, please subscribe, keep an eye on my channel, hit the notification bell if you want to know when that video comes out. Should be this weekend, but we'll see. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye!